Hello ladies and gentlemen, Beef's Game Chanel here, and today I want to show you my longsword build, which I also call the ground beef build, because that's exactly what you're going to make out of the monsters, ground beef. It's super strong, it's super powerful, and I think it also looks pretty cool. I have recently picked up the longsword, so I am by no means a professional. However, I think this build is actually really good, and I wanted to share it with you. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, for the equipment, we have the Rathalos Helm Beta, that gives us a decoration slot and 2 levels of attack boost. Next we have the Rathalos Mail Beta, which gives us 2 levels of weakness exploit and also a decoration slot. Then the Damascus Vambraces Beta version, decoration slot again, and 1 level of handicraft. You could go with the Alpha version, so you lose the decoration slot, but you gain 1 level of speed sharpening on top of the handicraft. So if you want, you can go with that. Then the next thing is the Odogaran Coil Beta, a level 2 decoration slot, which is important, and I'll explain to you in a second why, and 2 levels of Critical Eye. Then we have the Death's Den Shield Beta, which gives us 2 decoration slots and the Handicraft level 2. And for the charm, I'm using the Breaker charm for now, but there is actually a better charm, I think, and I'll show you that in a second. I just haven't had the materials to craft it yet, but bear with me. So in all, we're looking at attack boost level 4. That gives us an additional 12% attack and 5% affinity because I have 2 decorations and then the 2 levels that we get from the helm. Weakness exploit level 3, 2 levels from the chest piece and then 1 level from the decoration. 3 levels of handicraft, they all come from the gear. Part breaker level 3 because 2 levels from the necklace, from the charm, and then 1 level from a decoration. Speed sharpening level 3, all from decorations, and then critical eye level 2, which comes from the Odogaran coil, and that gives us 6% affinity. So, let's look at the weapon real quick.
Oh!
So we are using the Hassak Grocer 2, so that is the Valhazak tree, and the last weapon out of the tree. Usually it has a blue sharpness, but because of 3 levels of handicraft, we're actually having white sharpness, which is pretty significant because that raises our attack by 6% over the regular blue sharpness. It has a base attack of 660. There are some of the swords that have a higher base attack, but I think at the end of the day, this is gonna do a lot more damage, and I'll show you why. We have 2 augmentation slots. What we'll do with that is, once you have the materials, you'll go and do the affinity increase. Now I need the Odogaran gem to get my first one, and then I need a little bit more farming before I get my second one. But at the end of the day, we are raising our affinity to 20%, alright? Then we have 270 dragon damage, which is quite good, and a level 2 decoration slot. Alright, so keep the 20% affinity in mind here, alright? Once you have min-maxed this set. So when we go back, let's look at the stats again. We have actually 2 pieces of Rathalos gear, right? So we actually benefit from the set bonus, which increases our elemental damage, in our case the dragon damage, when we're landing critical hits. Now, remember the 20% affinity from the sword? So we still have those. We get 5% affinity because of attack boost level 4, so we're at 25%. Weakness exploit, 50% when we hit weak spots, so we're now at 75%. And then we also have critical eye level 2, so that gives us an additional 6%, so now we're at 81%. And that is already pretty high. So 4 out of 5 hits are going to be critical hits on average. And not only that, these critical hits, not only do they deal 25% more damage than a regular hit, right? Because that's basically how critical hits work. But on top of that, because of the mastery from the Rathalos set, we deal additional dragon damage on top of the dragon damage that we already deal. So that is pretty cool. But we can actually make this even better. So as I said, right now I'm using the Part Breaker charm. However, I think, and I haven't had the chance to try that yet, maybe one of you got lucky enough to get all the materials to try it, but when you get the Master's Charm, you can actually do it, you can upgrade it to level 3. So we get Critical Eye level 3 just from the charm alone. Yes, we'll lose the Part Breaker, and that's why I'm not sure if the Part Breaker is going to be better or this charm, but I think this charm overall is going to be a lot better because we get 3 levels here, and then remember we have let's see, sorry, we have the 2 levels on the Odogaron call, right? So we are actually looking at level 5 at the end of the day, so that raises our affinity by 20%. Now originally, remember, we had 81% and that included the 6% affinity that we already have. So add another 14% of affinity to the 81 that we already have in the set. So we're talking 95% affinity, 95% critical hit chance when we hit weak spots. So almost every time we hit a weak spot, we have a critical hit, and on top of that, not only do we deal an additional 25% damage, we deal an additional amount of dragon damage because of our set bonus. So this is super, super good. And what I want to say is, dragon, most of the monsters, you know, are affected by dragon damage. I mean, obviously there are some that right here, there are some that are 2 stars, 1 star. A lot of them have between 1 and 2 stars. Now here I want to point out there's only 2 monsters that have a red X for dragon damage. One of them is Black Diablos and the other one is the Odogaron. Alright? Now at the end of the video I'm gonna show you how quickly I'm gonna kill a high rank Legiana and a high rank Odogaron. Alright, so don't worry about the red X here. The Odogaron is gonna fall in a couple minutes. It's not a big deal, and the Legiana even faster. So don't worry about about monsters that are not that affected by dragon damage. It doesn't mean much. I want to go back real quick to the decorations so you have an idea of what I'm running here. Alright, so we have Tenderizer Jewel. That is very important for the build, and you can't really do this build without it because you need to get to the level 3 to raise your affinity by 20% when you hit a weak spot. I have 3 Grinder Jewels. That's personal preference. I just like to stay in the white sharpness that we have for as long as I can, and I want to resharpen it as often as I can. And I hate when I try to sharpen my weapon and then there's a roar or you know, or wind pressure or whatever, and I can't get the sharpening off. So I'd rather have only 1 cycle of sharpening, be done with it really quickly. I can do it mid-fight even, and this way I can keep the DPS as high as I can. If you are struggling, however, and you keep dying a lot, you can also opt out for Vitality Jewels or decorations to raise your health. You can do resistance if there's a particular monster that you're struggling with, but overall I would recommend the Grinder Jewels. Alright, so then we have the Destroyer Jewel level 2. I like the additional part damage, especially since I'm already having the charm right now. That gives me to 30%. It cuts things off like tails and wings really quickly. I would still probably run it even if I switch to the other charm as soon as I get it to level 3. I would still like to have the additional 10% part damage, so I'll keep that. And then again, 2 attack jewels to get us to level 4. I know it's a pain of the ass to get these. One is luckily one you get from just playing the missions. The other one you just have to get lucky and keep farming until you find it. I want to point out that probably there's 2 gems or decorations that are really important for this build. One of them unfortunately is the attack jewel, and then the other one is the Tenderizer Jewel, because we just need the weakness exploit level 3. I highly recommend the Destroyer Jewel Part 2, or Destroyer Jewel 2. If you have it, if you don't, you can just use anything else. You just deal 10% less damage to parts, but that's okay. Alright, so now that we talked about the gear, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll show you some gameplay. I have a mission lined up where I have to kill a Legiana, high rank, and also the Odogaron. I think all in all it takes me 8 minutes, but that includes the running around in between, so I'm gonna cut that part out. I think all in all we're probably gonna kill both of them in, I wanna say, maybe 6.5 minutes. You'll see me do a couple of, you know, mistakes here and there. As I said, I'm kind of new to the longsword, but I think this build overall performs really well and you will end up liking it. So if you have any comments or concerns, please leave them in the comments down below. I appreciate every like, and if you want you can subscribe. I'm by no means a professional YouTuber, but if you guys enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the gameplay and I'll see you in the next video. for this fight against Odogaron, please keep an eye on how many parts I actually break and how quickly Odogaron loses his tail. I'm still running the part break of 3 charm here, so that probably was the reason why. I also want to mention real quick that towards the end of the video, for some reason my PlayStation messed up when recording, so there's like a second or two that went missing, so it looks like a cut when there actually wasn't a cut. But I still opened the map at the end, and you can see I finished the mission in 8 minutes, so just so you guys know I'm legit. Anyway, enjoy.